Israelites and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you. And they ask me, what is his name? Then what shall I tell them? God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. God also said to Moses, say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, the name you shall call me from generation to generation. Now, to continue learning from the prophet Moses' story, we have to draw attention to the fact that a prophet is a servant of the Lord God. Okay. There are many priests, there are many prophets of different religions and different faiths and things like this. But when we're talking about the Lord God Almighty, a prophet is a servant of the Lord God Almighty, which means he's living to do someone else's will and not his own. Okay? And so when there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, reveal myself to them in visions, I speak to them in dreams. But this is not true of my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. With him I speak face to face, clearly and not in riddles. He sees the form of the Lord. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? Now the context of this is a dispute between Aaron, the brother of Moses, and Miriam, the sister of Moses. So Miriam and Aaron were opposing Moses, and God had rebuked them for doing so. But I just wanted to draw attention to the fact that first and foremost you have to understand that a prophet serves God. Okay, and if you come to grasp the new covenant teachings, you cannot serve two masters. You can't serve yourself and God at the same time. You have to do God's will. And so a prophet of God serves the will of God. And he is faithful in God's house to discharge the duties that God has assigned him to do. And so for Moses was sent to the children of Israel and to Pharaoh. Okay? Moses had to be faithful to discharge that duty before the Lord, to go and to say those things which God has commanded him to say. Now, how do we go about identifying a prophet of God? Okay, and so just to go through these relatively quickly, as we talked about previously, the Lord reveals himself to his prophets. Okay, so there has to be a revelation, whether it's a dream, whether it's a vision that God shows that prophet, or in Moses, God speaking face to face. You know, there is an intimate revelation that happens between God and his prophets. God reveals himself to his prophets. The Lord calls his prophets. So not only is there a revelation of here I am, I'm the Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I'm showing myself to you. I'm revealing myself to you so that you can know who I am as the prophet. But there's also a call. God says, go. I'm sending you to this people. I'm sending you here. The Lord speaks to his prophet. So God will tell the prophet what he wants them to hear and what he wants them to say. And then the Lord sends his prophet to his people. And so in the case of Moses, God sent Moses to Pharaoh to convey God's message, but he also sent Moses to the children of Israel as well. So there is revelation of God to his prophets. So there has to be a revelation. There has to be a call. Go. I'm calling you to send this message to them. God conveys the word, the message that he wants his prophet to hear and to speak